Hey class, I thought it would be highly appropriate if I recorded an example of one of the types of problems that we're being asked to do. Remember, the big idea is that we can form the number one by having equal quantities over equal quantities. And it could be the units matter, right? It could be time, it could be distance, it could be volume. But as long as the two quantities are the same to each other, we formed a giant one. And we can multiply by repeated giant ones, and we don't change the value of a thing, we just change its units. So it says here that an object is moving at a speed of 4 miles every 9 hours. So I'm going to write down that rate that we're given. So I'm just going to write down we've got 4 miles for every 9 hours. And we're asked to rewrite this so that we have meters per day. Meters per day. So there's two things going on. We need to convert our unit of time, right, the time dimension, from hours into days. We also need to convert miles into meters. And for every single one of these problems in Delta Math, the system will tell you, it says, hey, note, you must use these exact conversion factors to get this answer right. So why are they doing that? Why is that happening? Well, because I want you to practice thinking about creating ones, multiplying by ones to move something along. I don't want you just simply saying, hey Siri, or hey whoever, right? Hey Alexa, or hey Cortana, and then ask them to do it for you. I want you to do it, right? I want you to type it into a Google search engine. So if you do that, type it into Google, you're going to get an answer that's slightly different. And it has to be these answers based on these units. So note, you must use these exact conversion factors to get this question right. So let's take a look at it. So we're starting here with 5 miles per hour. So the thing that I want is I want hours to go away. And I'm pretty lucky that's going to be an easy giant one to form. Again, because hours are in the denominator, I'm going to place hours in this numerator. And I'm going to put the word day down here, right? So unfortunately, that's not a giant one, right? It's some number of hours is equal to 1 day. Now, let me, this better be 24. Yeah, it says 1 day. It says 1 day is the same as 24 hours. So I can write that either way. I can write 24 hours over 1 day, or I can write 1 day over 24 hours. It turns out in this case, I'm going to write that 24 hours is the same amount of time as 1 day, right? Those are equal quantities. It's the same exact amount of time, so that's why I call that a giant one. The beauty is now that I've done that, right, I can look at these units, hours in the denominator, hours in the numerator. Hour over hour is unitless, right? So all of a sudden that unit is gone. That dimension of time is gone. And I'm now looking at 24, I'm sorry, I'm now looking at miles per day. And I don't know the number yet, but the number we'll deal with that at the end. But now this is miles per day. But now I got to get to meters. Okay, so let's see what they've got here. Okay, so there's two things that they're going to allow us to use to get to from miles to meters, and it's this. Well, let's see. Which am I going to do this? Okay, I've got up here miles and feet. It looks like the only way that I'm going to be able to do this is I'm going to have to go to kilometers. And then once I'm at kilometers, I can use this factor. So my strategy, I think, is I'm going to go ahead and jump 2 kilometers using this giant one, right? 1 km over 1,000 m, or the reciprocal of that. And then I'll use this second one below here. And that'll let me go from kilometers to meters. So let's go ahead and do the first one and move away from the meters and into, oh no, I've got miles. Okay, so I gotta get rid of the miles first. So I'm gonna use this first one. So what I'm gonna multiply this by times is, it says, I'm gonna put miles in the bottom, and I'm going to put kilometers, km, in the top. And this conversion factor that I'm given says that 1 mile, right, 1 mile is the same as 1.609 kilometers. And I have to use exactly that value, 1.609 kilometers. So if we look at this now, right, we've gone a step further. And now all of a sudden I see that I've got miles in my denominator and I've got miles in my numerator. In miles over miles, it's unitless, right? So that's gone. So now I'm looking at kilometers per hour, and I just got to go one more step. I got to move from the kilometers to the meters. So that one's a pretty easy one for me. In fact, you can see it right here, right? A kilometer is the same thing as 1,000 meters. I know these prefixes. So I'll do one more multiplication problem. I have kilometers in the numerator. I want that to go away, so I'm going to place kilometers in the denominator. And I'm going to place meters, M. It's just the abbreviation M. But I'll write the word out, meters. I'll place meters in my numerator. And I know that 1 kilometer, 1 kilometer is the same thing as 1,000 meters. And again, I can very clearly see on this last step here that now I've got kilometers in my numerator, kilometers in the denominator, so that's unitless and it's gone. So if I take a look at it, the only units that remain, right, the only units that remain, and I notice these, are meters in the top and then per day in the bottom. So right now my answers are meters per day, which is exactly what I want. But now I got to deal with the number. So the number part is in my numerator, I've got 4 times 24 times 1.609 times 1,000. I gotta move this meter over. Times 1,000. That's the numerator. And in the denominator, I have 9 times 1 times 1 times 1. I've just got 9. So, and again, what are the units of this? Meters per day. So I want you to see how this is set up, right? I've gotten to where I've done the manipulation of the units, and I now know that whatever number this is, it's expressed in the units of meters per day. Now it's time to do some arithmetic. So let me just bring up the calculator here. Can I? Where's the calculator? There it is. Let me clear it. So two things I'll do is in the numerator, I'm going to go ahead and just, oh my goodness, I don't need that keyboard up there. In my numerator, I'm just going to go, and I'll just use the fraction key. I'll use parentheses. So I'll do open parentheses, and then inside of the parentheses are going to go 4 times 24 times, and I got to get this right, 1.609, and then times 1,000. I'm going to close the parentheses, and then I'm going to divide that by, and there's actually no product here. It's just the number 9. So actually, I don't have to be so concerned about entering this correctly. Divide by 9. And when I do this, I get this number. And I do notice that the problem does say, round your answer to the nearest whole number, And if this is what I'm looking at on my calculator, the nearest whole number would be 17,163, right? I'm rounding up, 63 meters per every single day. There we go. So I'm going 17,163 meters per day. Well, I hope you found that useful, and this is one of the problems where you have to deal with both time and another one of the dimensions. Some of the problems you just have to deal with either the units of the numerator or units of the denominator. This one you have to do both. We had to get our miles expressed as meters, and we had to get our hours expressed as days. All right, this is Mr. Roberts. I hope you found that helpful. I'll talk to you soon.